Hello and welcome. Another episode of Post Free Agency Pre-Draft Road to Super Bowl for season 2025 is here. Today it's with the AFC East and we will start right away with New England Patriots. Before we start, please, if you have liked any of my videos, please leave a like, leave a comment, it helps tremendously. Thank you very much for the support and let's get right into things. So, Patriots of season, obviously they swam in cash. They had a lot of money to bring players and let's see how they did. So, before we do that, let's start with some of the guys they let go. From this, DJ Wise, Jonathan Jones, Jacoby Brissett, three veterans that they kind of decided to trade or not to prolong. I'm probably the most surprised with Jonathan Jones one because for 5.5 million, I think he's a quite decent corner, and I still feel like you could use him in this defense. Jacoby Brissett, I get that you don't want to spend 6 million a year for a backup, but it's I think he was a good thing for Drake May, and I would probably keep him around. So yeah, slightly annoyed with these two let goes. DJ Wise is kind of whatever in my eyes. So yeah, not really this should not be a deal breakers for the Patriots, but in the hindsight of things, I would rather have these guys on my roster for this amount of money than don't with this situation. So let's talk about other guys. They also kind of decided to revamp their linebacker room. Both Sione Takitaki and Jawan Bentley are gone. I trust my variable. It's they also have another couple of linebackers that are still pretty good. So I'm kind of okay with these let goes. Joe Milton's trade was kind of surprising to me. Not because Joe Milton would have a great special career here with the Patriots, but with the way he played in that one game, I thought they could have gather better compensation than a 5th round pick that they also have to pay 7th round back this season from the Cowboys. It's such a small price. I don't think you are even recouping the resources you've invested in Milton last year. It's weird because, he was and still is really tradesy guy. And he actually looked like a quite decent QB when he played that one game, obviously. So I kind of expected if they were going to let him go, it would be for a higher compensation. So yeah, slightly discouraged by this trade, truth to be told. But with that being said, let's talk about the guys that they brought in. So they kind of replaced Jacoby Brissett with Joshua Dobbs. I like Jacoby more even for the mentorship role, though Joshua Dobbs is one of the, if not the smartest player in the NFL. So okay, I don't have too much to say negative about it, but if I had my my choices between paying 3.8 million a year towards Joshua Dobbs or 6 million to Jacoby Brissett, I would rather pay Jacoby Brissett. So that's why when I compare these moves, I'm not the biggest fan of this one. In terms of bringings of Mike Hollins and Austin Hooper, both guys I think are solid players and the money are good. The only thing that with Mike Hollins signing, why is it not a higher? Because I actually like Mike Hollins, but I'm just not super certain about him here. Because to me, this wide receiver room kind of needs juice, and he's yet another guy that does most of his damage within 5 to 10 yards from yards of scrimmage. So not really certain about utilization for him here. But he is a hard worker. I think Mike Vrabel is going to like that. But let's move towards big money signings. And truth to be told, I am not ecstatic about either one of these. But we start with the most positive one in Milton Williams. There were reports that he is heading to Carolina. It seems like on last minute Patriots offer more money and he's here. Is he overpaid slightly? Yes, in my eyes. I have like slight doubts about like his qualities when there is no Jalen Carter next to him, and also like the defensive line of the Eagles was just crazy, and I feel like that allowed Milton Williams to do what he done, and he was spectacular last season. I'm not going to take that away, but can he be the leader of defense? Can he be the main guy? Here it's like you still have Christian Barmore next to him, so it necessarily like is not such a big downgrade from Jalen Carter. So I like this landing spot for him actually, and also like with Mike Vrabel, I think this could be like his rampage to ascend to greatness, like really top player. But you know, it's not like a super slam dunk A to A plus. Like I still like it. B is like I really like this signing. It's just like it's a lot of money, and I have like tiny bit of doubts whether you know, without the surrounding cast around him that he had with the Eagles, he can produce the same way. What I don't like is Harold Landry. I mean, it's not like I have anything against Harold Landry, but if any other team rather than Patriots sign him for this amount of money, this would be an E for me. This would be a really bad signing. Here, I only count on Mike Vrabel because obviously he knows him from the Titans, and he can like resurrect the best what is in there left, you know, with Harold Landry. But this is an overpay. Like Titans were really happy to let him go, and they kind of jumped the gun on him like very early in the offseason. And yeah, this is just way too much money for Harold Landry. There's a lot of guarantees. To me, he's not a player. He was pre-injury, and yeah, for a guy that kind of relies on his traits, this injury seems to be slowing down. Like he was really dreadful in terms of pass rush last year. So I feel like you could have waited, got him for like 8 months a year and be okay with that. And also like this, the same thing is like when Dan Quinn last of season signed Dorrance Armstrong. I was like, I feel like this is an overpay, but with Dorrance there was like other criticisms. He was much less proven in terms of how I think he's going to ascend, and he got money as a proven player. Here the critique is that he's getting paid like for a guy that he was prior to the injury. So, but back to like the Dan Quinn parallel, it's like when you know this guy as a head coach, you should be able to get him for a discount, not overpay him, which was critique with Armstrong and Dan Quinn, and here is the same. So yeah, anywhere else this is an E. Here I just give Mike Vrabel benefit of doubt, but still I don't like it. I think it's a massive overpay. Then the next one is Stephon Diggs, and like kind of what saves this from being like even worse grade is that there is not that much of a guarantees. I think they could really get out of that contract after 2 years and like really pay almost no dead cap. Let me recheck on that one. Okay, so it's like 4 million after that season. Yeah, or 8 after this one. So there is a way out of this contract, but like Stephon Diggs is like a huge question mark, right? Because Josh Allen and him, it didn't work last season. Then he went like 2023. Then he went to Houston, and he like looked good, not necessarily his premium self by any stretch of imagination. And then he got like torn Achilles. So how good he's going to be, right? And he is going to be 32 almost when the season starts. So I don't know, man. Like, is he much more closer to what he was, or is he much more closer to like guys like DeAndre Hopkins? You know, guys that we know and love by the names, and in their prime they were top guys. But now, you know, teams are willing to pay them $5 million, and they are willing to pay Stephon Diggs $20 million. So it's a lot of money. There is a way out of it. I get it. Also, it was like, well, we kind of need a splash. We need a guy for his offense. And Stephon Diggs, you know, I think if you know, there is a scenario in which he's still an amazing player. I feel like I would give the scenario like 30-40%. That's why this is a C. I don't hate the signing. I understand it. But I'm not like super stoked about it for the Patriots. And also like one thing, it's like Stephon Diggs and his demeanors, his behavior. And Drake May, like, is he the best wide receiver one for development of Drake May? I think the answer is no. But yeah, he could actually be one of the missing pieces they needed. We'll see about that one. So they did not stop there. Now towards the signings, I liked much more. So Morgan Moses continues to be freaking criminally underpaid. Like, I don't freaking get how this guy is getting $8 million a year when he is, I don't know, like borderline top 10 right tackle in the league. Like, I get that he is 34, but like, you wouldn't tell it by the way he plays, and it's not like he's like super crazy injury prone. Total A+. Immediately he is with Mike Onwenu and Morgan Moses. You have right side of the line that you can like consider top 10 in terms of the league. Exceptional signing, super value. Love this man. And if I'm Drake May, I'm getting a slight bit of comfort from my offensive line, which is not something you could say last season. Robert Spillane, it's a lot of money. I'm going to say that, but I feel like he will be super important. It just how to put it. I think you are taking him for the best years of his career. I feel like he is going to be the best version of himself that he was ever in the league. I feel like he could have like a later career breakout, and he's again one of the guys that I might have incorrectly labeled as just a good starters. Perhaps he deserves to be slightly more than that. Only thing that like stopped me when I originally thought about this, and like I was probably giving this like a B-. It was like, well, you have so many other linebackers, like what are you doing? But they clearly needed and wanted to revamp that room for Mike Vrabel. I think he got his guy, and it is going to work. Carlton Davis. So kind of there are two things why this is not an A. First thing is, like, he is going to probably miss a couple of games. Like, he is not injury-free guy. And second one is, like, when you look at this from the Detroit's perspective, they got, I would say, a slightly better player in DJ Reed that's less injury-prone for cheaper. So it's like, well, couldn't you get DJ Reed? I mean, not necessarily that it would be a great scheme fit, but it's like these two things are kind of connected in my mind, but I still feel like this is a really great deal for the Patriots. He's physical corner that allows this defense to do what they want to do, and pair him next to Christian Gonzalez. I think they will very much enjoy using these two pieces, and they're going to be pain in the asses of a lot of wide receivers. Yet this is a lot of money for a guy that's slightly injury prone, and so that's kind of where I'm on him. They didn't end there. From these couple of guys, Garrett Bradbury, solid center signing, nothing more, nothing less. Kylon Chiasson, I think it's a solid depth piece. I really like Jack Gibbons. I'm happy that he's getting a chance here. Obviously, is another guy that is going to be reunited with Mike Vrabel, and like, if we would put down a list of the guys that are going to be taking kind of minimum deals and have a chance to have like a massive breakout year to earn themselves 8 figures in next season, I would actually probably put Jack Gibbons on that list, because I think he has it in him, and in Mike Vrabel's scheme, again, reunited next to Robert Spillane, I think he could really shine with this defense. The question is, will he even start? It might not happen, but he would be kind of the sleeper guy for a lot of people that I feel like he could surprise. The question is, again, about him starting, because they still have several good linebackers, so it's kind of a hard position. So like, from Jack Gibbons' perspective, I was like wondering, why did you choose to go here? Like obviously Mike Vrabel, but also like when you look at the competition, it's like it's going to be hard to get on the field. Interesting. I would say interesting. We'll see. Then there's a couple of resignings in Christian Ellis and Kendrick Bourne. Actually, really like Kendrick Bourne resigning because of the money side. Like this is very cheap deal for how good of a wide receiver he is. I think he's kind of a guy that won't mind if he is like the third or fourth option even, and you absolutely don't mind him taking that step back because of the money you are paying him. Yeah, absolutely enough the signing. You kind of know what you are getting, and yeah, just money part of this is just very sweet for the Patriots. I feel like wide receiver, even of his age, should be getting like $2 million a year more than he is like on a fair trade basis. So that's why this is B, not a C. So all the signings, where does it leave us? Well, it still leaves us with some question marks of this O-line, because like I said, right side, Michael Van Morgan Moses, you're super happy. But Garrett Bradbury is your center. There's a reason why Minnesota really went out of their way to let him go. I mean, he's a solid option, and like unlike people who are getting, I would say there's a misconception slightly about like offensive line, and then you like have to win from the trenches. Like again, I love building from the trenches, but for the people that are like, okay, but in January there is Dexter Lawrence, Jalen Carter against you, or Chris Jones, and you have to be able to withstand that. And I'm so sick of my O-line because Garrett Bradbury is there, and then Jalen Carter is going to eat his lunch. But Patriots ain't going to postseason most likely this season. Okay, so to me, you need to have like two separate debates in a way of, okay, what is our goal? And if our goal is to get better, to perhaps stumble towards the postseason, but we are not building this team towards facing Chris Jones in January. Right now, right this season. I'm not saying that's not an ultimate goal. I'm saying that's not like our primary goal. And having a guy like Garrett Bradbury, in December, in October, facing like an average defensive line, it's okay. It's not crazy good, but it's okay. So there's a little bit of, you need to kind of get ready for whatever. Yes, eventually, but depends on where your team is at. But still, right side of this line, I am not worried. Slightly worried about Morgan Moses dependent in terms of injury, because let's face it, he's 44. But in terms of quality, him and Romano, totally okay. Left side, Cole Strange, coming back after injury. Garrett Bradbury, solid, but like 24th best center in the league. And I'm still absolutely not sure who is playing left tackle. Like if we look at the depth chart right now, it would be Veteran Love. Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't want that. So clearly, despite investing in Morgan Moses, bringing Garrett Bradbury, this line needs investment. In terms of playmakers, they kind of actually felt this room much more, not much more than I expected, but we talk about like not necessarily having playmakers, and when you look at this, they kind of have 5 wide receivers that they can count on. Diggs, Douglas, Booty, Bourne, and obviously Jalen Polk that they have drafted last year with like 33rd pick, and yeah, he was pretty bad. I also have Javon Baker. So and Mike Hollins, like they have like 6 wide receivers that are either paid in terms of, like solid amount of money, like the least is Mike Hollins with $4 million a year, or they are young talent. So whilst I usually mock them Ted McMillan because I felt like that would be a really great fit, with Stephon Diggs resigning for Kendrick Bourne, it seems like they kind of figured out who are their wide receivers for at least like this and probably even next year, because all of these guys have contract for next season. That's also why I'm not like super stoked about, for example, Stephon Diggs, but also Mike Hollins, despite me liking him. It's like, do I see a great room when I look at this, or do I see a potential for a great room? And I would say like so many things have to go right for this to happen. there, I would probably rather have like Ted McMillan, Bob Douglas, Keyshawn Booty. I would still probably like to resign Kendrick Bourne, but like these guys, Angel and Polk, and not having Stephon Diggs and Mike Hollins. I know it would be even riskier, but I feel like the upside would be more exciting in my eyes. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts, where I'm like, I was not super stoked about how they kind of dealt with the wide receivers in this free agency. Of course, this might be because of they targeted offensive linemen, whereas Ronnie Stanley, it could have been then more, and they just came out empty-handed. And with that happening, they kind of have to, or in their mind at least, not in mine, spend that fourth overall pick for a tackle. So that could be how they think about this, and that's why like we saw Diggs, Bourne, and Hollins here. Okay, I talked a lot about this wide receivers. Let's talk about running backs. Yeah, again, like kind of a group that it feels like they are not going to touch severely in this draft, because both Ramondre and Antonio Gibson are paid, are there to stay like for at least this season and probably next. Both have contracts, and I felt like they work as a good duo last season. In terms of tight ends, they have Hunter Henry, but he's 41. Austin Hooper also 41. Jaheim Bell, whatever, like kind of afterthought in my eyes. So I'm not saying they have to invest in this group. I'm saying I would not be surprised. Hunter Henry, you could really get out of his deal cheaply if you want to, but like you not necessarily need to. So they are kind of in a situation where it feels like investing high picks for wide receivers is kind of out of the question, because you've done high second round last year, you've invested a lot of money in this offseason, so wide receivers kind of out of the window. The same it feels like about running backs. It also feels the same about quarterback, surprise, surprise. And so it kind of leaves us with potential tight end moves and obviously offensive line. So keep that in mind when I will show you my mock draft. Here, let's talk about backups. Yeah, they kind of have their guys. CDSO, Caden Wallace, another guy they spent like third round pick last year. So in theory, there are a couple of linemen that could be backups, but like they had their chances last year. They did not proven themselves, and I feel like when you have Jake May, you don't really want him to be protected by Caden Wallace and waiting for him to like become a good starter. Yeah, so this is the offense. It really feels set up with the exception of offensive line and potentially tight ends. Now let's talk about this defense. Melton Williams next to Christian Barmore, that should be a lot of fun. Definitely like a top 3, top 5 interior duo in the league. Excited about this pairing, especially under Mark Variable. We've seen what Jeffrey Simmons was able to do under him. Very, very excited. Now, about the edge, like they have Keon White, who had really, really nice season last year. And like in wild scenarios, which is kind of my thoughts that I post on X, I thought about what could be a wild scenarios for the Patriots in terms of a draft. And I was like, okay, imagine Cam Ward goes 1, that could happen for sure, or it probably is going to happen. Then Browns will select Travis Hunter. So that leaves Giants on the clock with number 3 pick. And obvious player is Abdul Carter, but they already have Thibodeau, they already have Brian Burns. And I'm like, are you actually drafting Abdul Carter? I think still in the scenario you should, and probably looking to trade Kayvon Thibodeau or try to like mix all these 3 guys together. It could happen, but if you are not going to pick Abdul Carter, and I'm Patriots, I'm like, okay, what does it take for us to get to number 3? Because imagine Abdul Carter with this D-line. Like, I know you are like, you need to invest in this offensive line. I feel like there is a good amount of offensive tackles that are like up for grabs from like 20 to 35. So if I use some of the resources from the future, I can get at least one of the guys, potentially even 2. But I cannot get Abdul Carter anywhere else in this draft. And like, that idea actually excites me. Like, could this happen? Is this like, it's wild, but I feel like it could happen. And Abdul Carter, Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, and Keon White, with Mike Vrabel. And then you have Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis on the backside of the defense. You have Jalen Tavai, Robert Spillane, Christian Ellis. Like suddenly, Patriots defense, Drake May, I mean, this team could be fun. So they kind of, to me, they are really missing that like second edge good piece. Like I really don't know who that is. And like it's like Harold Landry, but I'm not happy on that. So I mean, if Patriots somehow pull this one out, that would be very, very exciting. So yeah, to me, they are missing an edge, and I do expect them to try to look for one in this draft. They could be, we paid Harold Landry, we need to start him. If that would be the case, I mean, I would again get it, but probably would even lower my grade, especially if there is a chance to get really great player like an Abdul Carter. Jalen Tavai, Robert Spillane, I think a very good linebacker duo. They have like insane depth here. Let's watch the depth, because they have Jake Evans, they have Del Pettis, they have Christian Ellis, Harold Landry, Kyrie Stonga. Like that defense, and we will talk about secondary in a minute. But there is a lot of pieces for Mike Vrabel to use, and I really feel like it's still missing one. That's the number one edge, and it's like hard to get number one edge. Surprise, surprise. So I'm really actually like, I didn't thought about this because I feel like it's clear that Hunter, Carter, and Cam Ward are going to go number 1, 2, 3. But again, in a scenario which is Ward then Hunter, if I'm a Giants, do I actually like draft Abdul Carter? Like I would, but for GM and head coach there on the hot seat, it might not necessarily be the move that they go for. So I'm actually I got myself excited about this idea. We will see. Okay, let's talk about the secondary because it's a very fun one. Again, if there was a Jonathan Jones, I feel like this is a complete one. With him not being here, I'm like necessarily not super stoked about this cornerback depth because you kind of like, is it who is my number 4? Like who is a guy that steps in if someone gets injured? I'm not really sure. When I look, like, is it Marcel Dial, TJ James? Not really. So to me, they are definitely missing at least one piece. And then again, if you have Jonathan Jones, you are not in that position, and it only cost this $5 million. So I'm really not happy about this letting go. Starting is going to be Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis, that's for sure. Is it going to be Marcus Jones? Will they invest highly? We will see. In terms of safeties, there is obviously the huge question marks about both of these guys because Jabril Peppers has these off-field issues. So as of right now, from what I understand, he should be able to play, but how is it with this stuff? New type of lawsuit could emerge like kind of anytime. We will see. And Kyle Dagger had like brutal leader last season, and it was supposed to be because of the injury, and he kind of bite through it. But again, like, is there a certainty that he just did not tip off like Marcus Williams for the Ravens? So on paper, this defense or the secondary looks great. Actually, like kind of missing one piece. In reality, it might actually be missing 3 pieces or 2. So we will see. I think they kind of went and prepared themselves for this scenario because they signed a couple of veterans in Marcus Epps, Jalen Hawkins. So they are kind of safe in this area, but still it's a huge difference if you have Jabril Peppers or Kyle Dagger in his best form or Marcus Epps on the field. So if everything goes right, and if somehow they pull out and get Abdul Carter into the room, like this defense is making of top 5 defenses of the league. There's also a scenario in which Carlton Davis gets injured, Jabril Peppers has an off-field issue and can play for several games. Kyle Dagger is just a shell of his former self. Suddenly, you don't necessarily have pass rush because Harold Landry is not necessarily great. And suddenly, this could be average or even slightly below average defense. We'll see. But definitely, like, a very exciting team. And let's go towards the mock draft because that was one when I went crazy. I went really crazy. I went with a lot of wheeling and dealing, and if somehow they would pull this draft, they would be freaking. It would be amazing. So it's not going to happen. Tyler Warren is not going to fall to 20. But and you could ask like, why are you drafting him when you know this is not going to happen? Well, I do believe it's not going to happen, but again, like, did I thought that Eagles would get Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean with the picks that they had in last year's draft? I thought no, absolutely no way in hell. Could I ever imagine Falcons drafting Michael Penix with 8th pick of the draft when they just signed Kirk Cousins for 180 minutes? Hell no. So I'm like, okay, like PFF, I try to make the settings as realistic as I can, but then I let it like unravel. And if like things go opposite to me, when I'm like, yeah, I should have this guy, and somehow he went, 1 pick or 10 picks ahead of me, I'm like, how this would never happen. I also do not like restart it. So I just go with the flow. I try to do it on one go and see what happens, right? So that's why I'm like, okay, I don't think this is very realistic draft, but well, anything can happen in the NFL. So how did I approach this draft? I'm under the impression that there is Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Ashton Jeanty, Tyler Warren, and potentially Mason Graham are kind of like 5 guys I don't think you are going to miss on those guys. Like, I think those guys are going to be great, kind of no matter what. Then obviously there's Cam Ward, who, like, with a quarterback and how highly you, like, obviously you can go when there is like when you strike gold. Yeah, it has like such a huge impact. Like, look at freaking Washington, right? Like, look at Houston. So obviously Cam Ward is like the 6th pick that kind of has to go very, very soon. But beside that, I really feel like there's not necessarily those guys in this draft. But I feel really good about like this range of, from, I would say, from like 6 to 50 or 6 to 40, that there is a lot of interesting players. And I would rather have like 3 of those guys than take my pick and like spend it with 4th overall, and especially if that pick should be spent on tackle, because I really don't think there's Joey Alt in this draft. I feel like there are JC Latham's, but not Joey Alt. So what does that mean? Yeah, you might ask, but it means to me that there are not cannot miss prospects in terms of tackles in this draft, and therefore I would much rather give up my 4th pick and get ammunition to make trades around the back end of the 1st round or start of the 2nd round, which is what happened with this draft. So I really went out of my way. I was like, yeah, I'm willing to trade number 4 pick. I really cannot justify for myself drafting Will Campbell number 4 overall. I feel like he's obviously coming. Like, as of right now, he is a likely pick for them. But like, he is coming with problematic arm's length into the draft. Like, it's pretty much there has not been a successful tackle with arm length for a long time in the NFL. Or like, it's very, very rare. That's like number 1. And like, spending a 4th overall pick on this guy, I think he's going to success. I really do. But I just don't see myself doing that. And if Patriots do that, I would probably slam them, because I feel like you can get similar caliber of tackles in like the range of 15 to 25 to even 30. And whether it's somehow going for Abdul Carter, or whether it's probably not Ted McMillan. Even Tyler Warren as number 4, I would like not mind that for them. So I don't think you can get Tyler Warren later in the draft in terms of like caliber of the player. But you can get Josh Cornelius, you can get these guys, to me, are kind of close to Will Campbell, and doesn't really cost you the 4th overall pick. So let's go towards this mock draft. I traded down twice, and I recouped several round 2 picks on my way, and went towards 20. Where that is, to me, there starts like, that's a sweet spot in which like there should be at least one of the Mambu, Simmons, Campbell, Banks, Connerly, one of these tackles should be on the board in my eyes. So, okay, that's great. I should get one of them. And I recouped so many resources along the way. It was like 4 additional 2nd round picks. And then I arrived to 20, and Tyler Warren was somehow still on the board. I'm like, well, I'm kind of willing to take this guy as number 4. So yeah, I'm taking him here. With that being said, I was really like pumped up, and I was like, yeah, I need to get back in the 1st round, and I want to use my resources. So I was trading up. I traded up to get Gray Zabel, who I'm projecting as a guard, but like we talk, this team, like Cole Strange and Garrett Bradbury, okay, like I kind of want them to fight around the center, but I want to invest in this offensive line, and Gray Zabel is definitely an investment. Then again, I went and spent some of the future draft and obviously the 51 that I gathered from the Broncos to get yet another 1st round pick in Josh Connolly. You know, like if I could get Josh Connolly at 29 or Will Campbell at 4, I mean, to me, this is... I'm not saying that Will Campbell isn't a better player slightly, or that he doesn't have like maybe less question marks, or like I'm not really sure that's even true, like with the arm length for him. So yeah, I was absolutely stoked about that. And then I had the original kind of pick that I got from... No, yeah, and then I actually like went and got another 1st round pick. So this would get me four 1st round players that I have 5 years of control. And to me, like I figured out my offense pretty much with these 2 picks and with these 3 picks of Zabel, Connerly, and Warren. So imagine the offensive line: Connerly, Zabel, Strange or Bradbury, Mike Onwenu, Morgan Moses. In case of playmakers, I have Hunter Henry, Tyler Warren, Austin Hooper, Stephon Diggs, Keyshawn Booty, Demario Douglas, Jalen Polk, Kendrick Bourne, like so many things. And also, I was able to get an edge that I feel like could start over Harold Landry soon, or could be like a very good rotational piece year 1. So if they somehow pulled some type of this draft, it would be amazing. Of course, this is a crazy draft. I'm not gonna deny that. I don't think like this ever kind of happened. Then you would be able to like wheel and deal like this. But this would be freaking amazing if they somehow pull something like that. And I'm not saying they will do all of these things, but especially with the like spending that 4th overall pick either by trading down or not taking Will Campbell, and actually like using some of the resources that either you recoup from trade down for 4th pick or like from the future, and get to the back end of the 1st round and get tackled there, I would say that's what I would love for them. In terms of the rest of the draft, you see Fs, you see As. Like that's where me and PFF, you know, slightly differ in terms of how we view some of the prospects. So I don't want to necessarily like super get into it, but I think Jacob Parrish is around, like he's actually like 71st on my board as of right now. So getting him here, I feel like was definitely a fit I was looking for. To me, he was the best corner for the system that was available at that point of time. Really, there is not much to say. Why am I drafting a QB here? Again, you might ask. I'm going to like reiterate point that I've already made. I do like a lot of QBs that are like from 4th to 10 ranked in this draft to be my long-term backups for 4 years on cheap. I do like them. You know, Dylan Gabriel is definitely one of these guys. So that was Patriots, a lot of fun, a lot of crazy shenanigans. Let me know how you like that, and let's continue. We continue with New York Jets getting a team, you know, taking some of the grass out. So who are the guys that they let go? It's a lot of veterans in Aaron Rodgers, CJ Mosley, Tyron Smith. Do I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers? I mean, probably not really. It was just yesterday when he slammed Jets in Pat McAfee show for like making him fly towards New York, and pretty much 20 minutes into interview just telling him, yeah, we are going to cut you. I mean, I'm sorry, like I don't think it's cool, but it's kind of a interesting move from Alan Grant. It's kind of an alpha move, like come to me, okay, we really don't need you. I'm sorry, like it's not funny, it's a kind of a dick move in my eyes, but like when it's to Aaron Rodgers, I guess I can stomach it slightly more, because I'm not a huge fan of Aaron Rodgers, and it's like but that doesn't justify it. It's like yeah, I should not be laughing. I'm sorry. That is like, yeah, it's a little bit funny to me. For CJ Mosley, Tyron Smith, it's like in terms of CJ Mosley, I feel like they are ready to like hand over the keys to Quincy Williams in terms of this linebacker room. And with Tyron Smith, this was always kind of in my eyes a package deal for him and Aaron Rodgers. Like let's take an injury-prone guy and hope that we ride the high end of the variance and can strive for Super Bowl. So it's not necessarily like that he is needed when you are going with Justin Fields. Like he's still a good player, but he comes with baggage of injuries and obviously high salary. Not salary like salary, but salary like salary, They also let other guys go, and a lot of these guys have found great homes for themselves. Devontae Adams was kind of always the case that they would let him go because they could cut him and pretty much save everything that was there left, and it was like crazy cap hit. So again, really clear move. Never expected him to be back. DJ Reed, that's a weird one to me, because I don't think he necessarily got like super great contract with the Lions for what kind of player he is, but it feels like to me Jets are kind of in realistic situation in terms of how they view themselves. We are not winning this season. Surprise, surprise. And with what that means is like we kind of want to know who our guys are, and DJ Reed, with how old is he. Perhaps we need to pay other guys in terms of that secondary. We kind of want to take another looks on them. And I would say even like he probably wanted to play for a contender. So whilst it sucked to lose him, especially for this amount of money, it's not like this was like super easy move to get him back. What sucks and what I absolutely don't understand for you, how are you not bringing Morgan Moses back? Like, I mean, there is one thing about this team. No, there's a couple of things, but one thing that actually like kind of interesting is that their online is quite good. But now they will again have a huge problem with right tackle. They used to have that problem that they brought Morgan Moses. They let go of Morgan Moses. They had that problem. They brought back Morgan Moses. They didn't have that problem. Now they're letting him go. Like, don't tell me that with the money you saved, you couldn't bring him back for $10 million a year, which would be more than he got with the Patriots. I mean, I don't really get that. Like, is it because you want to see like Carter Warren play, Max Mitchell, or what? I mean, okay, don't try to win, or not don't try to win, but you are not in your window, but still, I mean, he's such a yeah. Like I'm done ranting about how Morgan Moses is criminally underrated and underpaid. Let's get out of here. They also let go Hassan Reddick. I mean, that was a freaking disaster that only like Jets could pull. What was that? That was a complete shit show last season. Javon Kinlaw, for this amount of money, like Washington went absolutely nuts in my opinion. Like I will slam them for that in their episode. You are never bringing Javon Kinlaw back for this amount of money. Like not even close. So for the guys that they brought here, well, we start with guys I'm not super happy. Andre Cisco. Why I'm not happy with Andre Cisco? It's easy. This is too much money for Andre Cisco. It's $8.5 million a year. Like I said, the 4.1 He's not 4.0. It's not what he's owed next season for them to play. This is dead cap money that they pushed down the line. So not only you are overpaying him, you also need to kind of push money down the line in terms of even like being able to afford him. This is way too much money for Andre Cisco. I mean, I don't know what they see in him, like so special that you have to pay this amount of money for him. Like he is still young, obviously. He could have a breakout here, but if he does, then you have to pay him shit ton of money or he's going to go elsewhere. If he doesn't have a breakout year, like, I don't know. I would probably rather like go for a veteran. It's not like I hate it, you know, I don't think it's like outrageous, but yeah, not a fan. What I'm really huge not a fan is Brandon Stevens. Like he's 28. Like if Andre Cisco got this contract, but let's tune it down for safeties, I would be like, okay, this makes sense for reasons that, you know, he can have his breakout and then this contract could be a value. For Brandon Stevens, like he is 28 already. He was like, Ravens fans are like super glad to let him go. Like he had the dreadful year last year, and now we are paying him like what, 12 million a year. Like DJ Reed goes like even less than that. That, you know, when that's part of why like losing DJ Reed sucks. Like when you look at the replacement, I mean, it's good that you want to get for a younger guy, but it's like how younger is he than DJ Reed? Like let me recheck on that one. Yeah, like around year. Yeah, he is 10 months younger. So now, I mean, what are we doing here? This was one of the big money moves that I absolutely hated for not the reason that I think like franchise doesn't understand where it is, but for reason that it's like it's just too much money for below average player that I just don't. I almost like don't see a point in this contract in terms of when this could be a value. Like I don't think Brandon Stevens has in him like important starter, in which case like 14 million a year would be considered like a slight value, I think, for a corner. So hate this. Justin Fields, I do understand this, and this could actually be even better than the C if they absolutely build this offense around him, because like I would be excited if they were like, okay, let's just go crazy, let's just run the damn ball, let Justin Fields run, and just completely build the offense, like build the pieces around this. Like don't even think about, you know, throwing 30 times a game. Let's get Tyler Warren into this room. Let's go really crazy, you know. I think that could be working, and also like when you look at this, it's not a small amount of money. But when you compare it with like Gardner Minshew contract from last year, it seems like this plus, you know, some inflation that goes with cap hit going up. So yeah, it's not that horrible of a contract. If you think about this and in terms of some kind of untapped potential that you feel like Justin Fields could be like a top 10 QB, then I think you would be sorely mistaken. But I would really enjoy if they go and really try to fit this offense as best as it can towards Justin Fields. And one more thing that actually makes me like this signing even more is Garrett Wilson. Because whilst I'm saying, yeah, let's not throw a ball 30 times a game, who thrives as wide receiver in Justin Fields' offense? It's wide receiver number one. Like if you are wide receiver 2, it's abysmal job. If you are wide receiver 1, he's going to force feed you. Garrett Wilson wants to be happy. He wants to go over 1,000 yards, perhaps even like right now. If someone offers you like crazy odds on Garrett Wilson going over 1,500 yards, I would take that. I think he has a really good chance of doing that with Justin Fields as a QB. Okay, the last of these guys, they re-signed Jermaine Sherwood, which I like. I think he, like, when we talk about CJ Mosley, him and Quincy Williams, this is the linebacker duo that they want to build on. With Aaron Glenn, he needs like his guys on the field in terms of those guys that are going to wear a mic. I think, yeah, definitely deserve pay. And this is the guy that I feel like kind of rare that on his rookie contract, he was actually productive as linebacker. Now we could have him for his best years on a reasonable deal. In terms of Okorafor and Josh Myers, I like both of these signings. I feel like they are what you could go with. Like when you compare this to like guy like Andre Cisco, like here you get two guys that, you know, there is some perhaps potential that they have not reached yet in their careers. They are not that old. Like they are what, 28 both. Let me check on this one. Chukwuma is 28 and Josh Myers is 27. So there might still be, you know, something within them. And like if it doesn't work, like they are solid backups for cheap. If it works and, you know, some of them like gets a starting job and actually plays well, you might stumble on a good players that you can resign for future years when you are actually like perhaps trying to win Super Bowl. But yeah, again, like I'm not saying Chukwuma should be your left tackle for Super Bowl push, but I'm saying this is not necessarily out of a question for a guy that could be there and be like 20th best tackle in the league, left tackle. So yeah, I like the signings because they are cheap on guys that were drafted high, showed some potential. And for this year, you are not necessarily like worried about your franchise QB getting hurt. So yeah, I like this. Also, one more note: Alan Lazard took 8.5 million pay cut, so kind of good on him in terms of like he wanted to stay and fight. Good. So where does this leave us with this offense? Okay, like still, I feel like you have a problem in terms of right tackle. Are you doing this with Chukwuma? Perhaps that could be the case. It could also be they are thinking about drafting a guy. Rest of this O-line is pretty good. You obviously invested high in Olu Fashanu last year and not taking Brock Bowers. So now it's time for him to play and prove you right. This interior is very underrated, yet very, very good. The only question I have about these guys is how good they are going to be without Aaron Rodgers. And especially like with Justin Fields, you get from a guy that's like very pro offensive line friendly towards a guy that isn't. So we will see. Like if they go and play as good as they did last year with Justin Fields instead of Aaron Rodgers, then this could actually be one of the best interior offensive lines in the game that like almost nobody's talking about. They are really, really like they look really good, but it's going to be interesting whether they can like look that with Justin Fields. In terms of playmakers, you are missing guys. You have Breece Hall, you have Garrett Wilson, and that's pretty much it. Like Braylon Allen, okay, I get. Alan Lazard as your wide receiver 3. Actually, like if you go and run the ball a lot, I think like Alan Lazard could actually be like interesting weapon in some of the situations. And again, like if I talk about like going about this offense for pro Justin Fields, I'm actually not that worried with missing a good wide receiver. 2, I'm really worried about missing great tight end though. In terms of who are the guys as a backup, I think you have very solid guys in terms of offensive line. I feel like that is kind of a set in terms of you either invest heavily and try to bring first round tackle and kind of complete this offensive line for years to come, or you don't because you feel like you have 4 really good pieces that you can trust, or 3, and you hope Fashanu becomes the 4th, and you have like a lot of very solid depth. Like they have one of the better depths in terms of a league in my eyes. Like, not that those guys are necessarily like super great, but like you are kind of ready for pretty much any sort of injury, and you are replacing them with guys that kind of feels good for your window. Like if this were my backups for when I'm pushing for Super Bowl, I'm not like super stoked about this, but when I like kind of want to have a good season and perhaps stumble on some starters for the future, yeah, that's where I like it. Jeremy Ruckert, Mikey Corley, Malachi had a really hard year one. We'll see where his future goes from now. Jeremy Ruckert as your best tight end is like, yeah, I feel like Stone Smart could really outplay him in terms of snaps if they really tap into Justin Fields. So it might be that Stone Smart should be here. Braylon Allen, Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, I actually put Braylon Allen in both categories. It's like they kind of don't have guys, man. Like they're really missing a lot of pieces for this offense. And like you could say, well, Davante Adams was here, Mike Williams was here. It's understandable that they don't have a lot of guys. Now let's shift towards this defense. From once upon a time, this should have been like one of the best defensive lines in football. They've invested heavily in this, and now it's like it's still good, it's still interesting, but some of the pieces are no longer here. And Will McDonald, I mean, yeah, he had 11 sacks, but he was abysmal run defender. Jermaine Johnson coming back from injury. Michael Clemons is in his last year of the contract. Quinnen Williams had a down year. So it's like, this defensive line is definitely not what you would hope that they would be given the investment. But I would still invest here because I really want Quinnen Williams next to someone that could take advantage of like how much of a focus he needs to be for offensive linemen. So I would like them to go and invest in another defensive tackle here. Probably second round should be the sweet spot. In terms of edge, I actually feel like they have Johnson, they have Will McDonald, they have Michael Clemons, and it feels like you want to know what is in these guys, because Johnson, they should probably pick up his 50th option. Michael Clemons, you want to know whether you want to resign him, and Will McDonald, you obviously want to unleash the guy that you spent, 13th pick it was 2 years ago. On the start of Aaron Rodgers' window, you've invested 15 pick overall into backup edge. Weird. Now, in terms of linebackers, Quincy and Jamie and Sherwood, not Shepard. This could be top 5 linebacker duo in the league. Like, I really like both of them, and I feel like the best ball could be ahead of them with Aaron Glenn. In terms of secondary, again, we talk about this cornerback room as strength of the team, but DJ Reed, Michael Carter, and Sauce, all of them had down year. DJ Reed is no longer here. He got replaced by Brandon Stevens, who I'm not stoked about. The good thing is that Tony Adams actually had a solid year, and I feel like he's how to say it, like, he could have a breakout year this season to me, and that's the same kind of goes for Andre Cisco. I think Sauce is going to come in this year with like bit of a target or like a chip on his shoulder, because Pat Surtain outplayed him last year heavily, won Defensive Player of the Year. This is something that, I don't think he's going to take lightly, because right now he's not viewed as the best corner in the league, and I feel like he kind of has this mentality that he wants to be the best guy. That's good. Show it. So there could, like, this is a young secondary that, two of these guys, Cisco and Adams, have something to prove in terms of, well, this is 1 year left on their deal. Sauce has something to prove because, if cornerback can win Defensive Player of the Year, after the 2 years that he had, we thought, maybe this could be Sauce. It wasn't. But when you look at this could actually go really even bad, because if Michael Carter continues to play like he did last season, Brandon Stevens is, again, just a version of himself that he was last year, and both of the safeties are kind of decent, then it's kind of Sauce and good luck. So, again, for where the Jets are, I absolutely like the secondary, because there's a lot of guys that can prove something. But I'm still really down on the Brandon Stevens contract. In terms of backups, they kind of miss a lot of guys. I went with even Fidarian Mattis for the defensive tackle, which is kind of crazy, because this dude, despite his draft pedigree, never showed anything in the league. Michael Clemons is kind of a solid edge. Ashton Davis for safety, but they are kind of missing bodies that I would be happy with. So it kind of tells you they went all in, they wanted to win with Aaron Rodgers. It did not happen, and this should be a reset year for them. So kind of expect to see several guys that you might not even know actually getting meaningful snaps here, and kind of see what works for this team going forward. That could be similar to where Arizona was 2 years ago, or some parts of Bears, defensive line 2 years ago, something like that. That's what I expect from the Jets. where I could get excited about the Jets is, if they bring a great defensive tackle next to Quinnen Williams, or if they really tap into Justin Fields and really like go and run the ball like 60 times a game. Like that could be exciting for me. not sure about like a general NFL fan. In terms of how I went about this draft, yeah, just like I said, what I would have the most fun with, yeah, it would be if they drafted Tyler Warren, because I feel like he should like feel very well in this offense next to Justin Fields, and then Derek Harmon next to Quinnen Williams. So 2 of the points that I made about this Jets team, I addressed them. Surprise, surprise. Then Marcus Mbao, he could definitely challenge Shukuma for the starting job. And in terms of other guys, I continue to grab Ollie Gordon and getting an F for it. PFF, do you want to make a bet that he doesn't go in 7th round as you have him predicted? We could take that bet if you want. And obviously, Quinn Ewers just feels like when I said for a lot of teams I like to grab these guys to be cheap backups. Here is obviously I like to grab them because they could have a starting job within this year. So it's as simple as that. So with that, enough with Jets, let's move to other team. And the next team is Miami Dolphins. So whom they let go? It was Kendall Fuller, it's Durham Smythe. For Kendall Fuller, it's kind of weird because to me he's a very good corner, and with Jalen Ramsey supposedly being on the trade block, I'm like, who is playing corner for you next year, guys? I don't know, like Dolphins, to me, there is very few teams that are in a worse position than Dolphins in regarding their future success. Let's take a look at their 4 highest paid players. So Tyreek Hill, I'm out of here. I don't play 4th quarter despite we still have a chance to make playoffs. Yeah, good. Tua Tagovailoa, 1 more concussion and he's gone. I hope just medically retired, not like gone, because like it's so freaking scary. I just hope he's going to be good and okay. But truth to be told, I don't think he should be playing ball anymore. Like it's just too scary, man. Like this is a man's life, or like his mental health we are talking about. Bradley Chubb, missing the whole year. We don't know what and where he's going to come back. And then you have Jalen Ramsey on the trade block. So yeah, good luck. And we are talking about a team that, despite having Tyreek in his prime and like a really cool head coach, they didn't really do anything meaningful in terms of offseason in last couple of seasons. So yeah, kind of a very weird position for Dolphins, and I feel like they should hit a hard reset button, but with prolonging Tua and Tyreek's contract, it's hard to do. So they still try to win, and let's see what whom they also let go and brought to make that happen. So with the way the cap space is, they kind of again lost like a special player in Javon Holland. Like last of season it was Christian Wilkins. This is now is Javon Holland. Like it sucks, but they have such a tight cap space that it was kind of inevitable. They also let go Raheem Mostert, which to me, they didn't really save too much on this cut, and I don't know. Like to me, he's still a good back. Weird in my eyes. Calais Campbell, that was much more of expected because he wants to finish his career as a Cardinal. Cardinals, you are getting a special guy, but you already know that, right? So this is actually 3 really good guys that they lost. Also, Kendall Fuller, so it's 4 losses. Whom they brought? Okay, here actually I'm excited about several of the players. Let's start with James Daniels. I feel like if his injury was not so substantial last year, he would have made much more money than he is right now. This is kind of banking on the fact that he could be what he was pre-injury, and yeah, I think that's very reasonable risk to take, especially when you want to get much more physical as this team. I really like the signing. I mean, it comes with potential that he is just not anymore that type of player, but I think this is a risk you take. Nick Westbrook-Akine, absolutely love this signing. Like this dude, he's a hard worker. Like he can set the perimeter as a wide receiver, very good blocking. Still like some untapped potential, I feel like. And like for 2 years, you got like super cheap contract for a guy that complements what you should be doing, what you need to do next to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So huge kudos for this contract. And the same I would say actually about Zach Wilson, because with Zach Wilson, I think this is it's not a cheap price for Zach Wilson. Hence, this is just a B plus. But to me, it's a great position for Zach Wilson to be in, because like with Tua, the chances are he's not going to play 17 games. And for Zach Wilson, if there is a place for him to resurrect his career, I think Dolphins are actually one place where this could very realistically happen and where he could have his chance. So I really like this. Why is it not an A? Like, it's not a cheap price for Zach Wilson. Let me put it this way. In terms of other guys, if I had to Melifonwu, Tyrell Dodson, I like Melifonwu. I feel like he's worth more than this, but this to me is kind of a prove-it deal for him. He it's similar to like Najee Harris to Chargers. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm better than this. Let's take a small amount of money to go someplace that I could actually play, that I probably should be a starter, and hopefully earn more next offseason. Where does it leave this lineup? Well, with Devon Armstead retirement, this offensive line is questionable at best, because like Aaron Brewer, very solid center. I feel like he fits here very well. But James Daniels, we have question marks about the injury. Austin Jackson, we have a lot of other question marks regarding his play, his quality, at pretty much everything. Like, yeah, he's a solid right tackle, but like you want this guy to be your weak link, and it might very well be that with James Daniels potentially going down, he's kind of your second or even like best spot on this offensive line. I'm not really sure like who plays the left side of this line. Like they could hand it to Patrick Ball. Good luck to. I mean, you have a guy that suffered several like very nasty injuries towards his head, and this is how you protect him after you paying him. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Yeah, and I mean it not like it's kind of sarcastic, but also it's not, because I freaking like every time I watch Dolphins, I'm scared for Tua, man, and especially like after what he did last year when he just goes head first. I'm like, I'm scared, man. Like, I really am. I am scared for this man's health. Okay, so this is this offensive line. They clearly have a lot of needs. Now let's watch who they have in terms of their playmakers. Here, the situation is obviously much better. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I mean, Tyreek had a down year, Jalen Waddle slightly as well, but they are still premier weapons. Nick Westbrook, I think, complements them very well. Devon A-Chain, I feel like his year was really good, and I think he has the potential to emerge as a top 10 back in the league this season. Perhaps he's already there. Jono Smith, he definitely finds his home. Yeah, this is a really fun bunch of playmakers, and I really feel like, whether it's Tua or Zach Wilson, they should be very best friends with these guys. Also, like the only question you obviously have is like Tyreek Hill and how is the vibes, after what happened in the end of the season. They really clear the air. So that's pretty much it. In terms of backups, not necessarily a lot of guys. You have a couple of Washingtons that they've drafted last year. Behind Jono Smith, who only has 1 year left on his contract, you don't really have anyone I actually trust in. So I would expect them to draft a tight end. But when you look at this, like, I had guys missing from starting lineups in terms of offensive line, and I have guys missing here even in terms of backup. So clearly that's a huge need for this team. And also with letting go of Raheem Mostert, I mean, is Jalen Rard or Alexander Mattison the backup here? Stop it. They are like teenagers. Like, you say something to them, wah. You might have heard it. that was good. Okay, let's focus on defense. Well, okay, so I don't have Bradley Chubb here because I don't know when he's going to be ready, if he's going to be ready to play. But obviously, in terms of edge, like, it could be very good with Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and Bradley Chubb, but it could also be very bad with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb injury history. So stop it, both of you. And in terms of interior, Zach Seiler is one of the best interior players that you kind of don't know about. Like, I kind of guarantee you that not that many people heard his name as he would deserve given his play. So at least they have one piece that I really trust and really like. Next to him, not really. Like Benito Jones, I don't know, man. Like yet another hole on this team, kind of a massive one because I don't need like. I mean, Benito Jones is a free. I'm not sure I can stomach that as a two, for sure not. In terms of linebackers, again, like Jordan Brooks, okay, they paid him solid money. He played well. Next to him, is it going to be Tyler Dodson, or are we talking about yet another spot where they are like, yeah, we are not sure. So yeah, this team has a lot of holes. Surprise, surprise. And we haven't even talked about the secondary, because if Jalen Ramsey is on the trade block, it's like, what are we doing? Because it's like already the secondary is like a lot of questions, because like I like Stormduck because of his name, but because of his play, not really. Kader Coho is a solid player, but yeah, that's it. And the rest, like Melifonwu, okay, but Coho, Melifonwu, they have 1-year contracts. Stormduck was like undrafted pickup last draft, and then it's like, I don't know. Yeah, Cam Smith is this guy that's on like next page. Like Cam Smith, actually, like I cannot say I like, because like he was dreadful last year, but like I guess you can make him play. But look at the secondary. Like without Jalen Ramsey, what is this? Like last year we were talking Jalen Ramsey, Kendall Fuller. Like there was some hope for the secondary. Right now, like this looks ugly. And again, like if you were talking about this as a rebuild year, where you like traded Tyreek Hill, let go Tua, and didn't prolong him before last of season, I'm like, okay, let's give these guys a chance and figure out who can play. But they are still trying to win. They are still trying to make playoffs. But like with the secondary, especially without Jalen Ramsey, I mean, like this team is just. I mean, I think they are screwed. I kind of predicted it last of season that they are in a very, very bad spot. They kind of made me right by not even making playoffs. And as of right now, like it still feels like they are too good to just like completely suck. But I mean, are you telling me that this team has any chance in playoffs going on their own and like win at Buffalo, win at Cincy, win at Baltimore, win at Kansas? Like hell no. With this, come on. So. Very, very weird team, and there was one team that I kind of struggled in terms of draft. When you look at the backups here, okay, like great, stop it. The great is Bradley Chubb, but we don't know if he's going to play. Mo Camara, okay, let's show something. Cam Smith, Tyron Dodson, like whatever. This is how I went about the draft, and I was kind of like, if I was realistic how I would do this, I would be like, let's hit the hard reset button, trade as much player as we could, but they don't want to do it. It seems like they are still trying to push. So I was like, okay, let's try to make myself, put up in that position and really try to think about, okay, what I would do in terms of trying to make this team as competitive as I can in this year. So that's where I went for. George Simmons, to me, when I talk about like those tackles that I feel like could go from like 12 to 25, that I added, I think 3 tackles are going to go off the board. Josh Simmons is one of them. I feel like you need to freaking invest in that offensive line. As you could see, like I went with Jaren Wilson in third round, who I feel like could offer me like guard center flexibility. I have the same with Aaron Brewer, I think. Also, I went with Jalen Travis later, Jackson Slater. Like I tried to like put bodies in, kind of protect something, but I have to spend premium. And then when I look at this, I also have to spend premium on the corner. And Benjamin Morrison, luckily, was still available. I think he is the guy that could go in the first round. So when he was available like in mid part of the second round, I was like, okay, that really looks good. Gun Helm, like, am I jumping the gun? Is this definitely the biggest need? I mean, not necessarily, but again, like I think he's a good blocker, good tight end, and that's something that this offense kind of needs. So it was frustrating drafting for this team, because like they have a lot of picks, but it's kind of like you're just trying to fix way too many holes with I would say not adequate material to fixing holes. Like you are hoping that it somehow, like so many holes you can put some kind of paste in and it's going to work, but I'm not really sure. So I would be okay with this draft if I was a Dolphins fan, which I'm not, for trying to be successful this year. But overall, I am really worried about the state of this franchise. Really, really worried. Hunter Waller, another guy, PFF, if you want to bet that this guy goes earlier than 7th round, let me know. We can make bet. I believe Hunter Waller is going to go in early part of day 3. So that leaves us with last team, and it's your Buffalo Bills. The team is resigning their own. Okay, about the guys they've lost. Amari Cooper, they kind of built him mid-season. It didn't necessarily work. Von Miller, with the contract he had, they could save a lot of money. They kind of did. Writing was on the wall. Both of these guys were going to get gone. With Mike Hollins, it was pretty much, they have a couple of similar players to him. Not necessarily a huge need to keep him. So I'm absolutely okay with all of these guys being gone. Russell Douglas, I guess I am too. He was really good for them when he sort of arrived here, but as years kind of progressed, this season he was not special, and considering that he's about to be asking for around 10 million a year, I'm no, let him hit the market. If he wants to come back on some kind of 3, 4, 5 million type of deal, I would be very much open to that. If he goes elsewhere, I'm absolutely okay with that as well. As we said, their main focus this offseason was resigning their own, and I absolutely love that, as you can see by the grades. Why I love it? Because not only that they are rewarding the players that were good for their franchise, which is something that I absolutely like, but also I feel like all of these guys actually took less than what the market was for them. Josh Allen didn't have a desire to become the highest paid quarterback. Good for you, Josh. I mean, absolutely good for you. There's obviously a lot of part of this contract missing because he signed to 2031 or something crazy like that. But I just didn't have that many spots on my card. Just really good for him. He clearly wants to succeed. He knows that he's going to earn insane amount of money anyway, so whatever. Greg Rousseau, I feel again, I'm just going to give you the breakdown on every contract because I think it's deserved, and not every number can actually fit here. So let's talk about it. So Josh Allen signed 6-year free 30, which when you consider how much the cap is going to rise, 55 million a year is actually, I'm struggling to say it, but it's a bargain for Josh Allen, man. It's a bargain. He signed it 2030. The contract is flexible, so you can push some money down the line, regardless how they need to. Yeah, really great contract for Buffalo, and obviously it's good for Josh. And Khalil Shakir, actually, his extension, it's even more crazy because he signed 4-year, 53 million. So that puts him at around 14 million a year, 13.25 to be exact. For a player of his caliber, that I think is also some kind of bargain. He's again signed till 2029. If he doesn't work, they have a way out, pretty much after every year. They can cheapen the deal quite severely, but it's wow. I mean, to me, that's kind of what Josh Allen's resigning kind of started in terms of other guys want to stay here, take 10 million less that they could have got and elsewhere, but be with Josh Allen and compete for championships. I feel that's huge power, and it's also something that Josh Allen kind of was taking a great leadership moment and making himself an example, because this is clearly about winning, right? I think Khalil Shakir could have gone elsewhere and get much more money. I think Josh Allen could have demanded here and he would gotten more money. The same for Greg Rousseau, because Greg Rousseau signed 4-year, 80 millions. I think he's worth much more than that, around 100, I would say. So all of these guys to me signed cheaper deals that they would get on the open market, they would get elsewhere. And it's all about, we want to win, we believe we can win. And Josh kind of showing, I don't even need to be paid more than Dak Prescott. Dallas, that was not a smart deal, just FYI. But saying that and proving that, it's like, yeah, we want to follow you. We believe you are our guy. So yeah, great for Bills. Now towards resignings, I was not like super happy about. And with Damar Hamlin and Ty Johnson, I feel like they are solid. I don't think it's anything bad against them. It's just not a great value. Where I am not happy is Terrell Bernard. Because like I cannot see eye to eye about this player with Bills fan, because it feels like they think that he's a great linebacker. And to me, I mean, he might be a decent starter. Maybe I have him ranked too low, but like, is he worth? Is what, like 4 years, 42 millions? Not really in my eyes. I don't think he like ever played up to that contract. They obviously like him. He's beloved by the fans, by the like cabin, by the coaches. So I'm willing to like say I will be wrong on this in 2 years. I hope. I mean, again, for 99.9% of the players that I'm saying I don't like this deal, I think they are overpaid, whatever, I want to be wrong. I wish nothing bad to these guys. It's just my opinion as analytic. So if I'm wrong, great. Good for you, Bills. As of right now, I don't think Terrell Bernard is near a player that should be getting 11 million a year in my eyes. So, towards guys that they brought in, a huge fan of Derek Forrest. I feel like he could have a breakout year last season. Kind of, in Washington, they kind of filled that room, so he didn't really get his chance. He might get his chance here because they have filled room, but not necessarily with great safeties, in my opinion. So, like this, if anything, like at worst, he's like a cheap backup option, whatever. Josh Palmer, interesting signing. I heard a lot of guys actually bashing this one. This is way too much for Josh Palmer. To me, this feels adequate. It's around like 8-9 millions a year, which I feel like could be very much like 9.5, very much worth it. And like he is still just 26. I don't necessarily feel like the fit with Chargers last year was great. I feel like with Josh Allen, he could be a guy that gives you like 50-60 yards a game. It's going to be like that guy that you don't really hear or read too much about, but when you look at the stat sheet, he's going to give you 700 yards a year. And I think that's worth 9 million a year for sure. So they also re-signed Christian Benford, yet another re-signing that I absolutely like. This was pretty much like we are not spending money on other than Josh Palmer. They kind of didn't spend anything. I also brought Joey Bosa, but that's going to be in the next slide, I hope. Christian Benford, 4 years, 69 millions. Again, like this dude, I mean, to me, like he is kind of a borderline top 10 corner in the league. And like, let's not, like, you need to, when you think about this resigning, this is not numbers that actually start right now. Like this resignings, this is extensions that they are starting like from 2026. So it's with approximately higher salary cap. So very nice job. And for Christian Benford, his life-changing money, obviously. Maybe he could have done something more. Maybe, probably he should. But yeah. He gets a lot of money playing for teams that could have a championship. I also brought Joey Bosa. For some reason, I did not put him in. I'm sorry, Joey, for that. I think he's a solid signing. I give this one a B. To me, I was surprised that he just didn't go to San Fran. This really tells me dude really wants to win. Because Buffalo to me is in better position than San Fran in this offseason. Like if he's healthy, they could have struck luck, but he's 30 and his body seems to give up. So at worst, he should be like a solid edge or run defender. At best, sky is the limit still for Joey Bosa, I think. So where does this leave this? This offense. So you are happy with your tackles, I think. Really, I mean, could you do better than Leon Dawkins as your left tackle? Yes, but if I am Josh Allen and I have this guy for every single snap pretty much of my career, this dude kind of never misses snaps, yeah, trust me, I'm freaking happy. Same goes for Spencer Brown. So in terms of tackles, both of these guys are signed at least to 2027. You are super stoked. In terms of interior, there is definitely potential to improve or invest in here. Why? Well, Osiris Torrance, so far, not necessarily like repaying the hopes that he could become great starting guard. Like he's solid, but nothing more. And for a second rounder, his first 2 years was slightly disappointing. Connor McGovern, good center, 1 year left on his deal. Do you want to prolong him? Probably, but like maybe you want to get better. Like when we talk about teams that need to have a great interiors because they need to face Chris Jones. When you look at this interior, is there anyone that screams, well, I'm going to stop Chris Jones? And that could be a place where you try to like invest. David Edwards, the same kind of as Conor McGovern, solid veteran, only 1 year left. Again, solid, but not Chris. I'm stopping Chris Jones solid. So I would not be shocked if they try to invest in this group with the first round pick. Where are they in terms of their playmakers? They are kind of set. Shakir, Coleman, Palmer, yeah. Is this the room that screams great? No, but when you have Josh Allen, when you have James Cook, when you want to run the ball, this is definitely adequate room that allows you to do what you want to do. Next to them, you have Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. With Dawson Knox, I feel like he is definitely a candidate for a cut next offseason because you can save around like 15 millions. Let me recheck on that one. No, only 10. Okay, but still, 10 millions to save is not a small amount given Dawson Knox production. So that's one player that I'm kind of looking to replace from this picture because I do expect Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir to improve. Also, Dalton Kincaid after a slightly disappointing year, I hope he's going to like elevate his play. And James Cook, he freaking arrived into eliteness last of season. I just hope he can continue to do so. And he's going to be an interesting player to track because he's one of the guys that is core of this team in a way, but they did not resign him this offseason, and he's only 1 year left on his contract. So it's going to be interesting to see if and how much they pay to him. I believe they will pay him, but the question is how much, because with running back market, he might ask for like 15 millions plus, which is not a small amount of money. But I mean, his play kind of says, yeah. Also, they might be like, okay, but his play is allowed by Josh Allen. Maybe you could get 80% of that by a guy from this class. So we'll see. We will see, or maybe Ray Davis. Probably not Ray Davis. In terms of backups, I feel like when we talked about this offensive line, there is slight missing of depth. Like I really like Cedric Van Pran, Kendrick Green, not super sure about them. Like Tylen Grable, Travis Clayton, like. I kind of like my starting five. I feel like Cedric Van Pran could be a piece for the future. The rest, I'm not stoked about, so I would definitely think about someone there. Curtis Samuel is my wide receiver 4. I still hate the contract, but okay, like I'm paying him, so whatever. Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, you have your running back trio. Like they complement each other super, super well. Yet I would not put it past them to actually invest in this group. It really depends how they view James Cook for the future. Mitchell Trubisky as a backup, why not? So now towards defense. Bringing Joey Bosa, at least I have him here. I'm sorry that he was not in the first picture. Like really, if healthy, this defensive line is very good. Is it great? No. It's very, very good. It's one of the defensive line that has 2 great tackles, but both of them are actually on the older side of things. Ed Oliver still 28, okay. Declan Jones 34, yeah, you probably are looking to replace him eventually, and this is a great draft to do so. With Joey Bosa, I obviously have only 1 year. But Greg Oliver and Ed Russo, right? No, Greg Russo and Ed Oliver are the building blocks for the future. And another guy who we don't know what's going to happen after the season is Matt Milano. This is his last year of the contract, and injuries are starting to pile up for him. Am I okay leaving this room in hands of Terrell Bernard? I'm not. They might be. In terms of the secondary, Christian Benford, Taron Johnson, super happy with these two pieces. The rest is kind of up in the air. I believe they will start Taylor Rapp because they really like him. I'm not like super high on him. Cam Lewis, I think, is a solid piece that can kind of play all around this the secondary. And you resign Cole Bishop, you drafted Cole Bishop, you resigned Damar Hamlin, you brought Jack Frost. Like, there's a lot of bodies that kind of prevent you from drafting a great safety in my eyes, it feels like. But that's actually not a great thing, because I really feel like this room could do with someone special, but they obviously hope that's going to be Cole Bishop. And in terms of backups, I really like kind of what they have in terms of their defensive line. I especially like Michael Hawk. I like their signing. I don't know, like he and Joey Bosa should be on the previous slides. Sorry for that. Yeah, and Larry Ogunjobi. Three guys, like like someone stole my slide. What happened here? So back to that. Larry Ogunjobi had this signing. They overpaid him, and also he's on a 1-year contract and he will be suspended for 6 games. Bad move. The same goes for Michael Hawk, but at least he signed for 3 years, and I actually feel like his contract is tremendous value. I think he's very good tweener, kind of a guy that can play on the edge, can play inside if you have a nose tackle. So I'm a huge fan of Michael Hawk. AJ Pennis as a backup, kind of whatever. Dorian Williams, Damar Hamlin. Again, we talk about Derek Forrest. Like they have bodies. They are missing, to me, they are definitely missing one corner. I don't think they are missing great safety, because I don't think they are going for one. But yeah, that room kind of misses great safety. And also, you probably need to start to think about Daquan Jones' replacement. And with that being said, so let's finish this episode with the Bills mock draft. And when you look at this, by PFF standards, I did super bad job. Well, I don't really think so. So why I did go for these guys, and these guys particularly, I feel like their main missing piece for this team is the corner. Like, I really want yet another corner in that room, whether it's in case of injuries, but also like Trey Amos, I think he can be a starter right away. With the rest of the draft, it was kind of thinking ahead. I really feel like we need to rejuvenate this defensive line with talent, and I feel like both Oladipo and Collins are making pretty much that. Also, with the Collins, I feel like he is a very special player in terms of like how big he is and how he can defend the run, which is something that comes playoffs time. I feel like sometimes that's where Bills can struggle, so I think he definitely solves that issue. Dylan Fairchild, I mean, okay, again, you want to bet that he doesn't go beyond 200. Let's make a bet. I really think he gets to it. Why am I drafting Quinn Ewers when I have Josh Allen? Very simple. Mitch Trubisky, only 1 year left. Again, I want a cheap option for 4 years for this guy. I really don't have, like a lot of hours to justify why a lot of these F picks are just stupid by PFF. Maybe it's not. Maybe I am wrong on these guys, but I really don't think so. Jackson Hayes, why I like Jackson is, well, first of all, again, I think he is kind of a value to me. He is more of 3rd or 4th round tight end, but he's kind of scheme dependent. But also, like, to me, what he gives you is great blocking. What they need, what they want to do is run the ball. Who is the guy they want to cut, or I would want to cut, is Dawson Knox. So if Jackson Hayes can come and really be the extension of the run game, I think he can do that very well, even year one. And he definitely can prove to be, 80% of Dawson Knox for like 1/10 of the money. That's why I'm doing this and why I would really like it. I think this draft, despite the PFF grade, would really put Bills. Like, it's not a draft that's going to like change how you view the Bills, but I feel like it's like the smart draft that prepares you for this season as well as seasons to follow. So With that being said, this is the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok when I'm posting like my shorts, the same as here. And also on Twitter, I'm sharing my views. You can communicate with me there. You can communicate with me here. And I'm really excited because in a couple of days, there's going to be a draft and we have a lot of draft contents for you ready. So be ready, be on TikTok, be on Twitter, be on YouTube. Everywhere you will get the content that you deserve for your draft experience. Thank you. Bye-bye.